Good morning and thanks for joining us. Holly Shields here for Kalkine TV. Welcome you all to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. This show where we bring to you industry leaders, successful business owners and market experts all under one roof to help you discover the latest insights. Today we're joined by Daniel Kinnock, I hope I'm saying that correctly, CEO and co-founder of LoungePair, the market leaders in working with airport lounges, all to make your travels next level comfortable. Welcome to the show, Daniel. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks, Holly. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you on. Now, first of all, we know that the airport experience can be very taxing on the traveller. So what is it that LoungePair does to elevate this experience?
Yeah, look, airports are incredibly stressful for so many people, Holly, particularly first-time travellers, the elderly, families with young children. Look, if you're flying economy, you've likely had to line up for an hour to drop off your baggage. Even if you've checked in online in advance. And look, once you've finally gotten through security, you find yourself jostling the crowds to buy a sandwich or a coffee or even to find a seat to relax in. LoungePair has really set out on quite a simple mission, and that's to make airport lounges more accessible to those who haven't tried them before or they don't know what they have to offer. Leisure travellers are often quite value conscious in terms of the costs associated with their actual trip. And we really want to show more people that they can get enjoyment out of the journey as well and not just the destination. So removing the perception that lounges are a perk only for the wealthy or frequent flyers is a large part of our strategy. And we work with Loungeport, air lounge operators, airport authorities and airlines to provide discounted access rates to travellers subject to capacity at that lounge.
All right, that's great to hear. And obviously, there is certainly a perception that those lounges are rather pricey perks as well for people who can afford it. But is that something that's changing, that perception, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And I think given the COVID pandemic, we find that leisure travel is obviously rebounding a lot quicker than business travel. Large corporations and businesses have realised that they don't need to put their staff on planes to fly them to far-flung destinations just to have a meeting and return the same day. Obviously a lot of the typical frequent flyers who would have access by virtue of flying in business or first class or having status with an airline tends to be not as predominant at this point. And we may see some recovery in that space in coming years, but right now leisure travel is where it's at. And so airport lounge operators are heavily focused on capitalising on that new market of people who want to travel for leisure, but they want to feel safe at the airport and they want to stay away from the crowds.
That's a really good point. Certainly, safety is something that absolutely factors in when it comes to the travelling experience. Now, we know that these travellers often have to compromise a few things, like namely comfort and rest as well. So while on a trip, in your opinion, how can these travellers ensure that they get the most out of their trips?
Look, when you know you're going to be crammed into a plane with hundreds of other people for sometimes 6 to 8 hours on a long haul flight, no matter how excited you are about your journey and your final destination as to where you're going to, it's quite a stressful experience. So I guess having some respite on either end of that journey to freshen up, have a shower, get a bite to eat, all without needing to be with hundreds of thousands of other people. And be in a more peaceful environment. This is where airport lounges provide an exclusive respite and can do so for almost every traveller. Most people will walk past an airport lounge at an airport and, they will otherwise have had no idea that they could get access. They look exclusive, they've got those nice glazed, doors for privacy and to keep the lounges quiet. This really is, it's one of the key ways that they can get respite as part of their trip.
Really good point as well. It sounds like there's some R&R available at these destinations. And is there also some perhaps snacks available they can refresh themselves with?
Yeah, look, the great thing about lounges is that, for most of them, food and beverage is entirely complimentary once you're already in there. Some of the better lounges have really good, shower and bathroom facilities. Often I've been to see some of these lounges and I've used showers and bathrooms that are much nicer than the one that I have at home. So, you take your time having a shower and enjoying yourself and, you get to the point where you visit some of these lounges and you actually don't want to leave. You don't want to board your flight because you know that the food that's waiting for you on the other end is nowhere near as good as the food you've just had sitting down and having a proper meal at the airport.
It's fascinating. It sounds like some of them are better at hotels, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you also review these lounges as well. So when it comes to reviewing, what are the most important aspects that you look at?
Yeah, look, I've had a lot of experience reviewing airport lounges over the years. I used to be a managing editor for Point Hacks in Australia, which is Australia's leading points and miles blog. So I've had the privilege and the honour of visiting lots of lounges over the course of many years, and I've taken that experience with me now, obviously, as part of our work that we do at LoungePair. So look, we look at things like food and beverage offerings, the type of seating available, are they innovative workspaces, are they private, what sort of features do you have for things like charging and Wi-Fi and accessibility, what are the showers and bathrooms like? For me, that's very important. The level of customer service that's provided by lounge staff, whether there's good COVID infection provisions in place. COVID safe measures have become incredibly important right now as part of people's travel journey. And I think the ease of getting into the lounge is also a really important component. Making sure that it's a completely frictionless experience. Staff need to make sure that every traveller that comes to the lounge feels important and welcome, because first impressions always really count.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It's obviously some very key things there, particularly the comfort and the treatment of staff, and obviously the respective the COVID safe measures. That's obviously very important when it comes to people in enclosed rooms. We know that much.
Definitely.
Now, you mentioned that you're expecting to see demand pick up for these airport lounges based on the fact that most travel will be leisure. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. We see leisure travel rebounding. The thing is, COVID has not, it hasn't minimised people's desire for wanderlust. You've got people who still want to travel the world, go back to see their friends and families, back in the UK if you're based in Australia, or even, in our region, the Trans-Tasman bubble was open for a short period of time. It's almost a bit of a tease. I was lucky enough to return home myself from Auckland. But yeah, I can definitely see that, leisure travel over the next few years is just going to explode, because people have all of this incredible pent-up energy. They've spent many months locked up at home, looking at Instagram, reading travel blogs, thinking about all the wonderful places they want to go to, and now they're able to make that a reality. And here we are at a prime moment to help make them enjoy their journey as well, and not just what they experience when they get to their final destination.
Definitely, that is absolutely very important. We obviously look forward to seeing that pickup in demand as well, and I'm sure LoungePair is looking forward to it as well.
Yes, we definitely are, and I think the airlines are particularly looking forward to it over the coming months.
Oh, no doubt about that as well. Well, with that said, that's about all we have time for on today's show, but I've got to say thanks so much for joining us today, Daniel. It's been great to hear insights.
Thanks so much, Holly. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to have you on the show. And viewers, if you've just joined us, we've had a stellar discussion with Daniel Kinnock of LoungePair. You can catch this edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks a bit later on our YouTube channel. But for now, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.